This is a must-have. A must-have book. Oh my God. You gotta have this book. It's written by a white man. My bad. It's written by Micheal Bradley. And when I say this book is everything you expect it to be, prehistoric sources, not just one. Oh, he backs it up, breaks it down to you. Prehistoric sources of Western man's racism, sexism, and aggression. Oh my God. It's a good one. But let's get into the breakdown. If you like me, you wanted to go online maybe and try to find some information about this book. You might have heard about it, came across it, whatever. So here it go. I didn't get a whole lot of it, but here it go. I ain't gonna break it down. I got my marker in a couple places. Let's just take a quick look at the table of contents. Now again, I ain't gonna do a whole lot. I'm just gonna say here, part one is the contention. So this is basically, what this is about. Technology, the thought frame, just, what we talking about when we say Western technology, Western thought. You know what I'm saying? We're considered a Western society right now. Where I am in the United States. It's a Western society, So that type of thing. Then you get to part two, race and the Neanderthal Caucasoids. Oh, shit. Did they say it? It said it in the book. Caucasoids. And then it proves Caucasoids, what they look like, what was really going on back then, the bone structures, all of this type of thing. See, we know there are Neanderthals, but we don't know what they look like. And everything that they show in the movies and on TVs and the cartoons and whatnot, all of that shit, it always looks like a primitive human with a big jaw, a big head, and whatever else. But in here, it breaks it down and really shows you. They talking about how they were shorter, stumpier. Again, growing up in the ice, your limbs would be more stocky. They would be more close to the body instead of like long and wiry like some of us. So all that basically, this is where you get the concept of dwarf, dare I say midget, all of that type of stuff. They were little short, stumpy people with little limbs, big fat hands, big thick knuckles, and big paw hands, you know what I'm saying? Little short, stumpy looking creatures and whatnot. Then over time they came into the Bigfoot aspect of what you might want to think about it. But point is, all of that, man, it goes over all of this in the book, breaks down all kind of aspects. The concept of race, the whole racism thing. At what point did one particular group of beings start saying, hey, they're not like us. They're not human. They're kind of man. They can emulate man. They're close, and maybe with some help, the Moors, maybe with some help, they can resemble and act like man and become more civilized, but they're not a man. Neanderthals, you know what I mean? Homo sapiens. The difference between Homo erectus and Homo sapien is, the sapient man is the thinking man. But there's very little as far as physical characteristics and whatnot. And they show you some of the bones and whatever else, but you don't know what the skin looked like. You know what I'm saying? This is back to Harry and the Hendersons, Bigfoot, the Iceman's Inheritance. You feel me? This guy, oh my gosh. He breaks down all kinds of shit in here. You know what I'm saying? Again, in the book, it even talks about how, I want to say it might have been 1845. That's how recently it was. Hell, it could have been 1945. But over in the Soviet Union, they caught a couple Bigfoots. Caught them. Had one walk into town. Caught them. In Futurama, they talk about death by snoo snoo. It's in that book. In the cartoon Futurama. The Amazonian women and what's not. Oh my gosh. But again, the women used to take the female Bigfoots, Neanderthals, whatever else, used to come into villages and take the kids and whatnot, make them supple and all type of shit. It's in the book. Anyways, I'm just saying. I don't want to break down too much of the book. I do want you to read it. You should read it. I don't want to get into a whole lot. Oh, but it's juicy, dog. It's juicy. Again, man, they got all type of accounts from villagers and whatnot of the Bigfoots and what they used to do and whatever else. And again, just from from an intellectual perspective, because that's how we should be viewing this. You know what I'm saying? Coming at this as a scientist. You know what I'm saying? Oh, the wizard. I'm all for the magic and whatever else. But what makes me a scientist, I feel like what makes you a wizard and whatever else is you know what's going on behind the scenes. Whereas everyone else thinks it's magic, you know the science, you know the process, you know what's happening, what's going on behind the scenes. You know about protons, neutrons, electrons. You know what I'm saying? You know about alternate dimensions and this whole spirituality aspect of it all. It's all tied into one thing. From what I understand back in the ancient past and whatever else, spirituality and science was all the one thing. It was all one thing. They were tied in together. I don't want to say it was one thing, but they were tied in together. You know what I'm saying? The priest was a scientist. You know what I'm saying? Was a surgeon. You know what I mean? The surgeon was a priest. The doctor that was in there doing, you get my drift. I know you with it. Point is, the Iceman's Inheritance. I really wanted to focus on just this one book. It even comes down to the concept of love and whatnot. Again, after that last ice age, or whatever you want to call it, the people who were trapped in the ice, shall I say, the Iceman, the humans or the hominids or whatever you want to call it, that had to grow up and evolve in that particular area of the world. For those of you that buy into the whole black people were everything and there was nothing but black people, let's not even say that we created white people. Let's just say black people were everywhere on the Pangea, the one continent that was everywhere. It was all black people on one continent. And then as the shit got separated and the waters grew and the oceans expanded and all that shit, some of us got trapped over in the ice. And this is what had to happen to them. They lost their pigment, whatever else you want to call it. You know what I mean? So, or you could just say we created white people, left them up there, whatever. There are many stories about how the European, the Iceman, got stuck off in the ice. But point being this, even if you Google troglodyte nigger, you can even say that. That's how I was told to Google it, and that's how I Googled it. Troglodyte nigger. Google that shit and watch how it tells you the primitive caveman that stayed, all that old shit. Click on images and look at what it shows you. So when I say black lives don't mean shit, I'm not trying to down black people or they cause or whatever it is that they out here riding for and whatever else. I'm just trying to bring light to the fact that you're not even black. This is about who's human and who ain't. This is genetics. They created the whole black shit. I got another book right here just for the cause because I was doing some Facebook joints. The Darwin Effect. And in the small print, its influence on Nazism, eugenics, racism, communism, capitalism, and sexism. But the Darwin effect, you know what I mean? We talking about genetics, evolution. Those who evolved in the ice, they had to think a certain way. They had to do and live a certain way. They evolved a certain way just for them to even still be present on this planet to this day. They had to do this type of shit. Or at least this is what they came up with, which is why you get books like this, Dirt by Terrence P. McLaughlin. Dirt. Get that book too. I ain't gonna get into Dirt. This is about the Iceman's Inheritance. Maybe I'll do a little short video on Dirt next. But again, just a quick joint, the Iceman's Inheritance. It goes over all of that. The concept of love. Growing up in the ice, there's not a lot of food. A lot of other shit is scarce as well because there's not a lot of animals, and not a lot of covering, not a lot of places to hide and whatever else, and it's cold, so they wanted to stay warm. So you need body heat and whatever else, you know what I'm saying? So point being, they coveted other people. You know what I'm saying? They really did cuff other people. You know what I'm saying? As far as love, let me hit you with this. I'm trying to speed up because I don't want to, make it too long. And I'm talking real fast. That's the only reason why I'm trying to spit it out. But love, right? Because of the scarcity of food and clothing and everything else, you know what I'm saying? Habitats and, just places to live in general. Because of all of that, right? Just for the white woman or the female, my bad, I keep throwing that white shit out there. My fault. It's a bias I need to get over, right? Uh, the female Neanderthal did not have sex regularly. It was not necessarily like it's just pointed. Kids were unwelcomed, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? There was another mouth to feed. That's where that concept comes from. Another mouth to feed. You see what I'm saying? So if you couldn't provide for your mate, but you still wanted to keep her around, you know what I'm saying? Even if it was just to release the sexual aggression. But you want to continue, you know what I'm saying? You want to grow, you want your genetics to move on. Again, we talk about animals. You want your race, your species to continue. You see what I'm saying? So them motherfuckers growing up, the Neanderthal, that primitive man growing up in the ice, used the concept of love in a totally different way than those who say grew up in the sun, where food is just falling off of trees. You see in Africa now, they got goats and chickens and cows just walking around the villages and whatnot. Food is literally just walking around now. So growing up in that concept of love, you know what I'm saying, mating because you can provide or whatever else, you're a good provider and all of that shit. That's a foreign concept. That's a European concept, which is where you get Western from. A Neanderthal, Caucasoid motherfucking concept that ain't got nothing to do with black people, quote unquote, niggas. It's not the way we do things. How the white woman deals with the white man. Oops, my bad. There we go again. How the Western thinker, the Western concept, you know what I'm saying, those who buy into that, well, fuck it. Let's just, for lack of better, you know what I mean? Fuck trying to be politically correct. How the white woman deals with the white man is totally different than how the black woman deals with the black man, or it should be, or could be. You know what I'm saying? However you choose to phrase that and look at it, it's totally different. That's a prehistoric Neanderthal concept of love. A greater love is looking at that person as an extension of yourself. This is what we used to do as black people. I met my other half. You know what I'm saying? Or whenever I do fall in love or whatever the fuck you want to call that concept, that's meeting your other half. Falling in love with another part of you, becoming one. That's what we call it. You know what I'm saying? That's where it is. Love, it's just you love yourself. And if this is an extension of you, you show that same love that you love you with to this other person. That's love. Now, the concept of I'm willing to die for you and know this and do all that, whatever. Yeah, if I consider you an extension of me, but you, just because you are who you are, I can't love myself unconditionally if I love you unconditionally. And if I've learned to love you unconditionally before I love myself unconditionally, well, I mean, just by the very definition of unconditional, like I said before, man, I mean, you know, and this is in the Iceman's Inheritance. They literally discuss that concept of love that you see in the movies and TV or whatever. The word did not, there was no word, there was no concept of it in ancient Egypt. It was different. The concept that we're talking about again, we're talking about becoming one, not loving another person more than you know, caring about another person that much. In ancient Egypt, this was all a motherfucking illusion. So why would we be talking about love? But anyways, I ain't trying to break out all that. I just want to throw some shit out there about the Iceman's Inheritance. You know what I'm saying? If you feel that, like, comment, subscribe. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about that type of shit. Or, you know what I'm saying, calm down. I'll leave it alone and just keep it about the science. You know what I'm saying? It's in this book. I did not write this book. My commentary is just my commentary. Micheal Bradley had nothing to do with it. I am not Micheal Bradley. I didn't write this book. This is just my commentary on it. This is the information that was presented to me and how I see it. It comes with some really good, awesome pictures. Oh, I don't know if I could even show you, but being like skull and whatever else. You know what I'm saying? The skull shapes and whatnot. They show you this. They found bones. All of this stuff he discusses right here in this book. You know, even sexism, again, that's why I had brought up how they dealt with their women. You know, again, this didn't happen in ancient China. This didn't happen in ancient Egypt. I mean, there's just the Kama Sutra. Look at all the freaky shit they was getting into. See, the Iceman, it was cold and winter is coming. So they didn't have time to indulge in all this other extra shit and whatever else. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't warm all year round. They had to hunt, gather some shit, do what they had to do, collect some food, find somewhere to sleep, find somewhere to have a night, stay underground, find somewhere to stay safe from animals and other beasts and whatever else because they out there killing them. The motherfuckers is killing them. They hadn't found a way to live in harmony yet with nature and whatever else. You know what I'm saying? But again, I ain't the one that goes over it. It goes over all of this in the Iceman's Inheritance. It is a really good book, and if that's the type of shit you was looking for, if that's what you was trying to find out or figure out or wanted to know about, this is the one. This is the one. This is the one to get. This opens up so many movies. Harry and the Hendersons, like I said, so much shit. It opens up so much stuff. Your eyes will just I mean, it's just hell. This might pop your third eye open because you've seen so much. Get into it. OZ the Wizard. Like, subscribe, share my shit. Holla at me, man.